Hi, friends. Welcome to Talking with Ben 31. I'm host Eric. Feeling a little bit mad and sad this morning. Uh, you know, the same sort of thing keeps reappearing, which is frustrating, which is I've talked with Rachel on a number of occasions in the past about the boat, how critically important it is that both parties are in the boat and respect the boat. If you're jumping out of the boat periodically or threatening to jump out of the boat or unclear about whether you want to be in the boat, then you're being deeply unfair to your partner. What I've explained to Rachel on many occasions is that the only reason she periodically has doubts or hesitations is because she's not made a real decision. And this is what makes me mad. It's this refusal to decide thing. She knows what a decision is. She gets it if she decides to break up with me, that we're done forever. But she doesn't, she thinks she can not make the decision in the other way. It's totally unfair to me because I don't want to have to be jumping out of the boat, swimming after her, dragging her back into the boat. Of course, that's what she wants. She wants me to do all the work. She wants me to do all the reassuring and all the, have all the certainty. And then she gets to not make a decision. Well, that's not how it works. So yesterday we had another occasion of Rachel doubting the viability of this relationship. As usual, it has nothing to do with anything I've done or said. Well, she doesn't like the way that shit went down. And I am very upset at her family as well. Her brother is a despicable coward, frankly. And her mother's a narcissist of sorts. I don't know. But, it's like they forced her out so that we had to come back together sooner than was our plan. This bothers her a great deal. It doesn't bother me because I was perfectly happy to be back together sooner. It bothers her a lot that she's operating from a position of disadvantage. Like, hi Skater My Wood, hi Raphael Breno, hi Lantern-esque, hi King Krishna Samarapagoo. It's like, I get that she doesn't like the fact that there's not really a good alternative for her at the moment. That her parents kind of forced her out of her house, and her brother, and forced her to come take residence up with me before we were really ready to make that shift back to being together in the same place again. And she's very upset about that. And she feels as though it's put her in a position where she has no power, no alternatives, and so forth. But of course, the thing is, I am the solution to that problem. She solved her problem. She had no good options, and then she got with me, and I'm that good option. She doesn't need another option if this doesn't work out, because it's going to work out just fine unless she kills it. And what I mean by real decision is it's like, you'll never hear me going back and forth about whether I'm going to drink again. You'll never hear, well, maybe someday I'll drink some more, or I'm not sure if I'm going to stay not drinking, or whatever. The reason you never hear me talk about that sort of stuff as possibilities is because I made a real decision. When you make a real decision, you don't revisit it. And so, when we're 8 months into a relationship in which we've spent an incredible amount of time together, an insane amount of time together. And Rachel starts saying things like, I don't know about relationships. I don't know if I'm meant to be in relationships. And I don't know, what am I going to do if you break up with me and stuff like that. I mean, that's just not even, those aren't even real problems. She's just making up shit to cause me distress for no reason. So obviously I'm mad and sad. She knows better. I've explained everything to her before plenty of times. I've explained about the boat. I've explained about decisions. But my words are less powerful than her intuition sometimes. That's when she's in the wrong, of course. If she's listening to her intuition instead of my words, she's guaranteed to be on the wrong path if they disagree. Because my words are reliable. They're the most reliable things in the world, practically. Nobody else's words seem to be reliable, but my words are totally fucking reliable. I don't say words. I expect you to take them to the bank, you know? It's like if I say, this, we're good, this is where I'm all in, then I'm all in. And I expect my partner to be all in as well. No fence sitting. No, have one leg out of the boat, one leg in the boat. No, oh gosh, I don't know if this is going to work out. Fucking ridiculous. But it would have been all fine last night, except after I put a lot of time and energy into like make her feel better and stuff. We went to McDonald's, we chatted in the car or whatever, and things were feeling fine. We came home, we get into bed, and still, it turns out I got to rub one out. I mean, the conflict started earlier in the day when I wanted to have sex and she didn't, which should not start any conflict, except she starts fretting about something because we're just not exactly perfectly in alignment for one day or whatever, and creates a big problem when there's no problem. Now, then by the end of the day, after I put all that time and energy into fixing the non-problem, which I didn't want to deal with, I expected to get my needs met appropriately, accordingly. Instead, I had to rub one out, and I don't like that. Can't get Christmas time for goop. You're at the wrong live stream. If you want props for cleaning your room, you need to look for Jordan Peterson's live stream. Haven't I ever been extremely insecure about something? Yeah, sure. But I mean, I'm insecure about something until the narratives are straightened out, right? Until we're on the same page regarding the words, then it's over, right? Okay, well, I get that Rachel also feels that, like, hey, I'm not bringing as much to this relationship as Eric is, or what am I, just a whore, or all that kind of stupid shit. I've said the right words about all that stuff. Yeah, well, I feel the same way, frankly. I feel the same way as Zaylen Black. I don't want Rachel to feel that way, but I feel the same way. You got one job, basically. And it's like, yes, that's true. It doesn't mean that she can't ever refuse it. Of course she can. But when she does, it shouldn't create a problem. It shouldn't be like, now she's going to jump out of the boat. It's perfectly fine for her to refuse sex anytime she wants to, you know? And basically, these fights are all about her arguing that she's not good enough. And it's like, fuck off. That's my choice. That's not your choice. Your choice is if I'm good enough. I get to choose if I want you. You don't get to choose if I want you. It's fucking ridiculous. I love Rachel. I love being with Rachel. What she has to bring for me is herself. You know? That's all I need from her, is for her to be her. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that I absolve her of all boat responsibilities. The thing is, if you get into a boat with somebody, then you need to respect the boat. Yeah, she doesn't need to save me from her. She just needs to knock off this bullshit. As I explained to her. If she wants to put a lot of energy into saving me from her, why does she put that energy into knocking this bullshit off? Because it's annoying. Makes me mad and sad. Oh, then I need to leave, Eric, because I'm making you mad and sad. No, Rachel, you need to knock off the bullshit that's making me mad and sad. Right? Just statements like that. Like, oh, I guess I need to leave. I guess we're not meant to be together or whatever. That shit makes me mad and sad. So knock that shit off, right? Very simple. You need to make a decision. You know? There's nothing more simple in the world than understanding what a decision is. Now, it's not necessarily easy to make a decision, but there are some circumstances in which you've had plenty of time to make a decision where you need to make a firm decision and stick with it. We have been together now 8 months. I should not hear any more words out of her mouth about how maybe this relationship isn't the right one or yeah. I'm not talking about depression. I'm not talking about logic or feelings. I'm talking about decisions and the refusal to make them. That's very clear cut. It doesn't matter how I feel, Zaylen Black. You will never hear me talk about how maybe I'm going to drink again. Why will you never hear me talk about that, no matter how I feel? The reason is because I made a decision. You don't make a lot of decisions in life because they're real things. Decisions are real things. So you don't make a lot of them. But when you make them for real. Do you see what I'm saying? Zaylen Black, the point is this. I am not trying to logic my way through depression or ignore feelings or anything like that. I'm pointing out a simple truth of reality. When you're a part of a team, you take on some responsibilities, right? You take on some basic responsibilities. So, if I play for the Dodgers Even if they have a shitty year, I play my best until that year's over and I get on to another team. I don't start thinking ahead about how I wish I was playing for another team. I don't start talking about how I wish I wasn't on the Dodgers. When you have a bad day, you don't throw your team under the bus. You don't throw your teammate under the bus. We can solve these things by talking them out. Absolutely. And I tried to talk it out with Rachel yesterday, and we had good solvency about it. But then, for me, it requires what's necessary at the end of every fight at some point is physical intimacy to make sure that we're good. She wasn't there last night, and so I'm still pissed, and that's okay that I'm pissed. And it's acceptable and good that I'm voicing this anger because I want Rachel to understand what it means to make a decision and for her to actually make one, I'm not manhandling. She's trying to have her cake and eat it too, and you can never do that. You have to make choices in life. She's trying to avoid making a choice. It's a form of accountability avoidance syndrome. It's called decision avoidance syndrome. It's different, but it's related, Now, it's not the worst disorder in the world or syndrome in the world. Accountability avoidance syndrome is the worst. What she has is finality avoidance syndrome. I mean, I agree, don't rush a decision, you'll get a bad one. We've been together for 8 months now, and she's still not sure if she's decided to be in the relationship. Keeping options open is a type of security blanket. It's a way to make not making a decision feel better. But everything in her soul is screaming for her to make a decision. That's why she periodically talks about breaking up with me. Because she knows at least then she'd make a decision. Because if she breaks up with me, for reals, we're done forever. There's no getting back together. I don't play that game. So I'm all in or all out, and I make decisions. I know how to make decisions. So that's what I do. And so her soul is screaming for her to make a decision. But she's so scared to make the right decision that she'd almost rather make the wrong decision than no decision at all. We all need to make decisions. It's an inherent human need. And that security blanket is something we have to get rid of because it's a childhood thing. It's a childish thing that we have to get rid of. It's not a big decision. She's already made it. She's been living it for 8 months. The big decision is to stop hedging her bets. She keeps wanting to hedge her bets. So she's playing 3 quarters for the Dodgers, and 1 quarter of her energy she's devoting towards which other team she might like to play on, or whether she might not want to play basketball at all, or baseball at all, or blah, 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 right? She's already on this team, but she's not giving it 100% because she's hedging her bets. She's keeping her options open. She doesn't trust me. She doesn't want to trust me. I do give her reassurances. I give her nothing but reassurances. I'm never out of the boat. I never do to her what she always does to me. Well, that might be the case. I think her basic thing is when she looks at it from an NI perspective, she sees that I could do better. she doesn't care about my SIFI perspective, which is no, I couldn't. Right? It's like I have invested all this time into you. I love you. And you and I are very compatible. And there's lots of other reasons why no, I couldn't do better. But it doesn't matter. Even if I could, I'm not an NI person. I'm not trying to maximize my capital or whatever. I'm an SI person. What matters to me is that we've already invested all this time. We're very intimate with each other. We have good connection. We have a great relationship. And the only thing that makes me very upset is that periodically she insists on making me jump out of the boat to swim after her, to drag her back, to put her in the boat. I swore I would not do that again in any more relationships. I needed somebody who wanted to be in the relationship just as much as I wanted to be in the relationship. But here I find myself doing it again anyway. And the reason is because, Rachel's worth it, but she needs to knock this shit off. It's like, it's that fucking simple. Don't do it again. Well, if she's saying, here's this NI universal thing that might cause us to not be working out, and maybe this is a bad idea, and maybe I shouldn't be here, now I've got two choices, right? I can either say, you're right, you shouldn't be here, and we're not a good fit, or I can say, no, of course you should be here. This is a great relationship. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It puts me in a position where I have to jump out of the boat, swim after her, grab her, swim back to the boat, and put her back in the fucking boat. The thing is, you hear about these instances and they stand out, but they don't occur very often, really. Every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks, maybe every month, it correlates with her period. She's having her period right now. I know I've done plenty of reassuring. What I told her last night is, because she's stressing about, well, you said, Eric, at the beginning that you didn't want somebody with any baggage. And here I am, and I have this baggage, and you're having to deal with it. And I just said to her, I love you and your baggage. Okay? It's fine. Your baggage is not a concern for me. Just stop doing this. Well, I guess that's her baggage. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's not fair to me, and I don't like it. And it's not okay. She needs to stop. She needs to accept that she's qualified to be in this boat. That she is my selection as a teammate. And as a consequence, she needs to be a teammate. Period. Work with me, not against me. Yeah, well, and I can be like this too. If girls can be like that, fine. Then this is how I deal with it. I get on the internet and I rant about it. And I complain about it. And I make sure my position is understood too. This is how I deal with it. So if people don't like that, then, TFB. And Rachel's always been extremely supportive and understanding about my relationship with the internet and my relationship. She knows full well that when I'm mad, I come on here and complain about it. Shit. That's what I do. The thing is, I don't like complaining. I really don't like complaining. And yet here I am. It's exactly what I'm doing, is complaining on the internet. But when one is treated unfairly, then that's the proper response, is to talk about it and get it out verbally. It's like there is no better, more civil response than the one that I'm making. I know she's attacking herself. I'm tired of it. She needs to stop. It still makes me feel unsafe. Look, I'm insecure too. You know, this is the bottom line, is I'm insecure too. And what makes me insecure is when my relationship partner sounds like she's not sure whether she's going to be in the boat with me. Here I am making plans, looking down river, rowing, mapping out the riverbank, finding spots where we might want to stop. And all of a sudden, there's this, wait, hold on, wait, you're not in the boat anymore? What the fuck? I'm doing shit here. Get back in the fucking boat. See, you have to operate under one assumption or another. You either operate under the assumption, like I do, that I and my significant other are moving through life as a team, and that I can count on her to always be there in the boat with me. I don't have to look back to check to see if she's still in the fucking boat. That she doesn't surprise me periodically by questioning whether or not she should be in the fucking boat. I mean, I want to not have to think about it. You know, I shouldn't have to worry about that. That's the thing that you get to assume and not think about anymore that makes relationships better than dating. Because I'm insecure too, Zaylin Black. And my expectation is reasonable, and she needs to meet it. That's it. I don't have very many expectations. That she doesn't question whether or not this is the right relationship for her, in whatever words she wants to make that questioning, is a reasonable expectation. After all, we've been together for a long time. I keep saying, okay, well, if it's not the right relationship for you, then leave. Not like that's what I want, but I'm trying to get a point across to her that she needs to make a fucking decision. And stick with it. It's a knowledge type thing. Knowers. It's a good question, Martinell. It's a good question. I mean, that's the thing. You keep jumping in the cold water, eventually you're going to give the relationship hypothermia. She's not holding me back at all. Well, you know, Rachel pulls her usual bullshit, which is doubting whether or not she's the right person for me. And it's like, that's not offense on her side of the flow. She can't use that argument. I get to decide who I want to be with. She gets to decide who she wants to be with. If I'm not good enough for her, that's a legitimate complaint. That's offense on her side of the flow. If either of us is going to make an argument that she's not good enough for me, I'm the only legitimate party to make that argument. She cannot be a legitimate party to make that argument because it's not on her side of the flow. I usually do experience everything that most of my experiences with Rachel are very enjoyable, and we have a great relationship most of the time. It's just when she starts catastrophizing things that she makes me feel unsafe because all of a sudden she's doubting everything that I'm assuming. You know, I have to operate under certain assumptions. I'm either in a relationship, I'm single, or I'm, you know, getting out of a relationship or something. No, she's trying to say she's not right for me because she's not good enough for me in some fashion. Well, I disagree with you, Jason Blood. I believe in the power of words when dealing with another intuitive. Rachel needs to listen to my words, understand them, and internalize them. Lara Fajikal, if she were doing that, we'd be broken up already. If she were trying to make it about me, and it's really not, then we'd be broken up. That's what Kimberly did. Kimberly turned her insecurities to attacks on me. Rachel's not doing that at all. So it's like, as a consequence, she's not being dishonest. She's being honest about the whole thing. And she deserves lots of credit for that. You know? Well, the world is a lot better off when people listen to me and internalize my words. So yeah, it's like Rachel's honest and she's got good NI and she understands the NI reality of things, which is there is a distance between us in terms of dating capital. But what she's ignoring is that question is not relevant anymore because I'm in a relationship with her, you know? Any question of dating capital is completely fucking irrelevant because I'm not dating. So it's like when she says, you know, you'd be able to find somebody else easily enough. Of course I would. What does that have to do with anything? I'm satisfied with my current situation. I don't want to change it. I hate changing relationship partners. I hate dating. I like having a solid, firm, no question about it relationship that both parties can completely relax and just take for granted, basically. That's a healthy relationship is one where both parties can take the relationship for granted. That doesn't mean taking each other for granted or treating each other with contempt or disregard or anything like that. It just means you can take the relationship for granted, that you just assume it's always going to be there. Well, see, this is the other problem, is whenever I try to say, I appreciate the question, Nupur Kachara. Nupur Kachara says, I don't know much, but I read somewhere people need to feel like they've earned the love they're getting. Is this applicable here? That might normally be the case, but I don't think it's applicable with INFJs. Because anytime I try to point to certain utilities of hers that I find particularly valuable to me, then she just feels like she's only useful for that or something. She's got this weird anti-TE thing going on, where if I say like, this is very useful to me, then all of a sudden she feels icky about it. So it's a weird catch-22 kind of conundrum. But I feel better already talking with you guys on the internet about it. That's the thing. I could have gone in this morning and started fighting with Rachel because I was mad this morning, you know. But instead, I decided to vent about it on the internet. And that always makes me feel a lot better. Everything's fine. I'm mad at Rachel because she's letting her fears make me feel unsafe. Well, I mean, you know, most of the time it's like that with me and Rachel too. It's just, have you worded it more like, wow, I really love the way you handled? Well, I mean, it's a weird circumstance. Most relationships, if you're looking at your percentages of time of good interactions and bad interactions, it's going to be scattered across every day, you know, 80, 20, 90, 10 or whatever, right? But with me and Rachel, it's much more clumped. So we'll have long stretches of totally good interactions and then a full day or two of totally bad interactions. I mean, not totally bad, but unsatisfying interactions to me. I find them unsatisfying. You're dating a 19-year-old and you're 29. Nice. Good work there, Jason Blood. Good work. Well, I mean, that's a TE Polar thing, Damon Black. It's something I'm having to adjust to because she's INFJ rather than some other type. ISFJ and INFJ, they don't like utility. ISFJ sounds like a perfect-ish mate, I suppose, but the problem is, well, like one thing is, I'm never going to have really the same taste with an ISFJ. Rachel and I can totally watch the same shows, listen to the same music. We like the same shit. Just all the time, like consistently. I can't think of really anything Rachel's shown me that I haven't liked, and I think it's kind of equivalent, vice versa too. And when we discover new things, we tend to like the same new things too. Our taste is remarkably similar in all media, and that's amazing, frankly. And it's a boon that I never really knew could even possibly exist. I mean, as far as love languages go, we actually have even the same. Our compatibility is kind of off the charts. Well, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagu, again, in every relationship, people have utility to the other people. It's only INFJs and ISFJs who think that's inherently bad and go to that thing there that you just said. If I tell you, it's what I call bag of chickening. To bag of chicken somebody is to do what Rachel did the other day, where I said, I was squeezing on her legs in the car, and I said, if you were a bag of chicken, you'd be nothing but thighs, breasts, and thighs, legs, thighs, and breasts, or something, I think. And she said, are you saying I don't have an attractive face? I pointed out, no, because if you were a bag of chicken, I wouldn't want chicken faces in it. Obviously, So why would I include face in this analogy since we're talking about if you were a bag of chicken? Obviously, I wasn't trying to comment on the lack of attractiveness in her face. I was just saying, you're meaty. I want to get on you, So who bag of chickens most? ISFJs and INFJs. They bag of chicken the fuck out of everything. And it's kind of annoying. I bag of chicken sometimes too. We all have our insecurity areas. And so, I'll do it too. But bag of chickening, Rachel has nothing to be insecure about. That's the thing. This is what pisses me off. This is why I'm mad and sad. Is Rachel has absolutely nothing to be insecure about. I couldn't be more all in this relationship. I couldn't be more giddily satisfied with it. It's just these periodic like fearplosions that annoy me. They do. They annoy me. They're unnecessary and they make me feel unsafe. Although less unsafe than I used to. It's like I'm starting to understand that Rachel's voicing of fear is something of an illusion. She's not really getting out of the boat. And she's just talking about getting out of the boat. It's still not okay in my book, but well, no, I mean, I think this is how we win. You know, periodically she voices her fears and doubts, and periodically I rant about it on the internet a little bit. The thing is, I mean, I would say I'm aggressively loyal, and I'm F bipolar. I mean, the thing is, I think F bipolar has the capacity to be the most trustworthy type because they have the capacity to be the most objective type. Of course, it doesn't always play out that way. But again, Salem Black, that's not an argument that's legitimate for her to make. That's argument on my side of the flow. That's what they call aft ground or neg ground, depending on how you position it. She can't make that argument. It's not up to her. She doesn't know what I feel about the boat, or like she doesn't get to envision my future without her in it and think that she knows better about my future than I do. That's not her ground. Do you see what I'm saying? I know. I understand this King Christian song for you. I get it. And, it can cause INFJs to seem a little bit spoiled sometimes. Because we all do provide utility to each other. And that's okay. And doesn't render us a means to an end. That's the thing. King Christian Summer Review articulates there that being seen as some TE utility makes her feel as though we're starting to see human beings as objects, projects, disposable, not good enough. Note that implicit to the INFJ then, and probably ISFJ as well, is the Kantian moral imperative, which says, thou shalt not use others as a means to an end, but treat them as ends in and of themselves. So I like that. Of course, that's the core of my morality as well. So it's another reason why Rachel and I are very compatible. But I have a more pragmatic understanding of it than INFJs do. You got to be a little bit pragmatic about that shit. Yeah, I think that's it. Octavio Silva. She said it sounds like she has some abandonment anxiety, but being an INFJ means she's really aware of the truth of the thing, which is like, well, Eric said at the beginning, he doesn't want girl with baggage like that, with abandonment issues or whatever. So when she feels that, instead of thinking to herself, oh, well, I'm going to not show abandonment issues because I don't want Eric to have a good argument about that or something. She's very honest, and she just says, well, look, you said this and I'm not meeting that qualification, and so I'm really not the best person for you or something. And I just go, and I get the fuck out. Sis Yannick will tell you it's ESFP, but I think it's ENFP. So, so the thing is, of course, I love Rachel a lot, and I also I also have this thing where I get mad and then I get sad and then we get mushy again, you know? It's like I get mad when I realize that I've I've started relaxing and taking the relationship for granted again, and then here we go again with this bullshit. You know what's funny is Megan Lavoda said that she broke up with her last significant other prior to the one that she has now, I guess, because they just didn't, they couldn't, they never felt good enough for her or something like that. And I know what that means now. Like, oh, that's what that is. That's weird because I just don't have that. Being bipolar also means, in some sense, I don't have very clear self concept or particularly high self esteem. Like, the NI is not determinate for me. The SI is. My life experience has not been one of having a lot of dating capital or being especially a catch or anything. So I don't fundamentally view myself as such when I go about my daily business. I just think, I don't even think about stuff like that. It's just, Rachel and I are just happily going about our business, being together. I'm not thinking about any of that stupid shit at all. I'm just thinking, la di da di da, here I go. I'm going to watch a television show. I'm going to take a shower. I'm not thinking about the viability of the relationship until it's forced upon me. I don't want to think about it. I'm perfectly happy ignoring the relationship and just being happy with the person. La di da di da. I'm a very simple person, Stuff doesn't mean a lot usually. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a fine. It's $1,000. You can mail it to me or PayPal me. I'm collecting fines for the nearly 7 billion people who didn't attend the live stream the other day. I mean, I am very simple. That's what Rachel's kind of understanding now gradually over time as well. That's a good idea, Martinell. So mine would be like a morale reducing admonition. Like, stay in the boat. Sorry, kitty. Sorry, I woke up kitty with my yelling. Oh, my precious PNP. I'm so sorry I woke you up. I love you with my emotional heart. I do. Oh, precious kitty wonder. What a precious kitty wonder. Oh. Oh, my precious kitty wonder. I am so sorry that I woke you up. Oh, big yawns for little kitty. Oh, beauty. Oh, your purple mountains are so majestic, and your skies are so spacious. Hapril. Cold water. It's a watery grave. So anyway, I have to rant on the internet to feel better. But the bottom line is, I love Rachel very much. I am no longer angry. I feel sad because she feels sad, I guess, or inadequate or something. I mean, it's so weird to say. It's like, that's never been the case. I've never had any woman think they're inadequate for me. All women have always expressed to me the various many ways in which I am inadequate for them. That's how it's always been. I should change the title of that. That's a good suggestion, Jason Blood. You know, my whole life, it's always been, what is Eric doing wrong that he needs to fix because his woman's not happy with him again? It's always been that. I've never experienced anything but that. How can it be the opposite of that? How can she be worrying about whether she's good enough for me? It doesn't make any sense at all. And so, I am going to change the title of that. Eric loves Rachel too much. I do love Rachel so much. And she needs to just respect that. It's like, she's probably sleeping, I would guess. Or she might be listening to some tarot shit. It's like she got really upset at something she read on the internet last night, which was about manifesting. That she's afraid that she's going to make this happen by thinking about it too much or reading about it too much. And she sometimes conflates what I tell her, which is, look, Rachel, why are you trying to convince me of this? If you work hard enough at convincing me of it, you might be successful. She conflates that with the thought that she's manifest. That I agree with her that no, manifest. The other way is like she's just thinking about it a lot or worrying about it, and that's going to make it happen, and that she needs to think good or happy thoughts. She doesn't like the inclination, the idea that you have to think happy thoughts or else the bad things will happen, which I agree is not the case. You don't have to always think happy thoughts. Sometimes you're going to think bad thoughts. The thing is, my relationship is not remotely toxic. In fact, to the extent that it's toxic, it's my response like this that's probably the extent of the toxicity. Rachel's fragility does not express as attacks on me. It expresses as what I view as attacks on the sustainability or viability of the relationship itself, which I don't like at all. But even that is not, it's not a very fair interpretation of it. It's my own insecurity interpreting that as something more negative than it is. She's expressing self-doubt and fear, and it probably doesn't do much good for me to get mad at her and tell her, you stop expressing self-doubt and fear. Right now, Missy. You stop that right now. You are not allowed to be afraid. It's probably not very helpful. So, that's the truth of it, is to the extent that there's any toxicity in my relationship at all, it's probably from me. And it's very little if there is any at all, but she's not typically doing anything that I would deem abusive or toxic or harmful to me at all. So, but I don't like this. I don't like this boat stuff. That's the bottom line. Bye, KKSP. And so it was that Kankan Krishna Sarmapagu disappeared into the wide Indian wilderness before her. Octavia Silva, I like you as a person too. I reciprocate that. You're a good person. I like your positive attitude. If you connect any cognitive function to each other's in a partner, what would they be? Well, I don't understand that question. I don't think I understand that question. there, Pacheco. Could you rephrase it? Well, this is the thing, Waldo. There's going to be some with those perspectives. But, what is she actually saying to me? She's actually saying that she feels unsafe because she feels as though she doesn't have a backup plan if this relationship were to fail. I take that as, well, why are you thinking about this relationship failing? But it's perfectly reasonable. She's in a really disempowered position, and it's perfectly reasonable for her to have fears and to express them. That's why I said, to the extent that there's toxicity coming from this relationship, it's largely due to my insecurities or past experiences informing my response to it and turning her words into something they really aren't. She's expressing fear, and she's not attacking me. And the thing is, you got to remember with NI also, it's always looking for patterns, and it has a tendency to see any short-term change in pattern as representing a new pattern. So the accumulated experiential understanding of the relationship by SI, namely that our experiences day in and day out are generally very good, is subsumed by the NI possible pattern extrapolation. And whether or not you fixate on a negative NI possible pattern extrapolation is going to depend on your FI state of being, basically. If she's feeling fearful, then it's going to express that way. The thing is, although it would be toxic if this is her core point, that is that she's putting me through this and somebody else wouldn't, or something. Well, first of all, one of the points I made last night is, as she's pointed out before, and plenty of people, I'll answer your question in a second, Nooper. Plenty of people have also pointed out at some point in life, I guess. I'm not good at picking relationship partners. I have a long history of getting an F in that class. This relationship is better than any relationship I've ever had before. Assuming she were to leave me, why would she conclude that I'm going to do better next time? Why would she possibly conclude that? I have a long history of making bad choices with relationship partners. Wouldn't it seem just as likely that if, in fact, she were to leave me, instead of replacing her with somebody better, I'd replace her with somebody worse? No, Nooper, there's plenty of stuff that personality theory doesn't account for. There's cognitive functions account simply for attentional manners, as defined by cognitive functions. It doesn't, like, for example, I typically reference Enneagram to account for some other stuff that cognitive functions don't account for. And there are still other elements that simply, you're going to have some people who are SI Dom, for example, are going to be more individuated in some way than people who are not, because they okay, well, personality is defined, Nooper, as those elements of the self that remain the same throughout one's life. And so there's a very fairly limited scope of things that qualify as actual personality. It does not comprise all of human existence or all of human experience at all. And it's not intended to. That's why the definition of personality is those elements of. human experience or human identity that persists from birth through death, barring any, like brain injury or something like that. Yeah, that's true. I didn't get the D in my relationships. I got an F. Okay, well, the thing is, the nice thing about being SI is I have had all these other relationships to compare this one to. And I certainly will say that Rachel and I are way more compatible than I've ever been with anybody. We're compatible in all meaningful ways, way more than I've ever been with anybody. Like, it's not just that we're compatible in terms of the media and stuff. We're compatible in terms of sex. We're compatible in terms of our eating and sleeping habits. We're compatible in terms of our 7 enneagramness, that we just want to play a lot, and we don't like having obligations and stuff we have to do. Here's the thing about the RPG thing. If it were an RPG, ENTP would be among the most overpowered classes, because an RPG is all about what you do and how you interact with other players in the game. Of course, what don't you ever do in an RPG? You never experience just being your character. Like, your character just never sits there and feels its body and feels hungry and feels love or feels sadness or anything like that. Those are the aspects of life that aren't included in RPGs. So, of course, if you're talking about an RPG, it's true that FI is useless in an RPG, because it's assumed that the more powerful weapons are better and the less powerful weapons are worse, and it's easy to determine what you want in an RPG. That part's done for you. It's set up into the structure of the game. But in actuality, life, you have to actually know what you want and so forth. Oh, you missed a lot, Can. You missed a lot. Yes, up dim plates 48. It is actually impossible for an ENFP or ESFP to answer a series of medium, light, hard genealogy problems. So, like, 4 steps or something. You give them a couple of them, you'll see quickly enough they can't answer. They might get one by luck or something, or have it memorized or something, but test them a few times and you'll see. You don't get why you would benefit from having high FI. Well, I mean, the thing about high FI is, think about it like this. You go to a carnival and you're playing games to win stuffed animals. If you're low FI and you lose, it doesn't really hurt. And you win, and it doesn't really feel good. If you're high FI, if you lose, it hurts a lot. And if you win, it feels really good. In other words, it's like, do you want your reward punishment thing ramped up or ramped down? Introvert thinking, yeah, introvert. I mean, look, a lot of people describe TI wrong. What TI is, very simple, is the objective deliberation calculus. It acts as though you are not an interested party to a question, and you have no preference as to what is correct or not, but simply determine what is correct based on universal legitimacy metrics, what's most defensible argumentationally. Well, I mean, look, you know what you want more clearly, and you experience the rewards and you experience the pleasures and pains of having what you want or not more strongly. You'll experience loss more strongly. You'll experience, I do get angry and emotional. Look, bipolar does not mean that you don't have those feelings. It means that they're short lived. So when I get angry and I get it out of my system, then I'm not angry anymore, or I think I'm not. And then I might discover later that I still am angry, Well, what makes you swear you were a complete ENFP when you were a kid? I mean, look, the thing is, Upton plates 48. The fact is, if I do a variety of TI testing on a person, it becomes very clear if they're an ENFP or ESFP. It becomes indisputably clear. They can't do the TI stuff. You may catch one who's, let's say, particularly good at the genealogy questions and can do 4 steps. But if you test on all TI tests, you'll see in fairly short order that polar is distinct from any other slot. Do you realize at the moment if you are mad or sad? I feel like I'm trash at knowing this at the moment. I usually know when I'm mad. Basically, it's that feeling like I want to yell at somebody, like I want to scold somebody for pissing me off, for doing something. I only get mad when somebody's done something wrong, If type can change up to a certain developmental stage, then definitionally it's not personality, but I guess you could sort of squeeze it into still definitionally personality if you were to say it happened very young, like within 6 months of birth or something. I'm not sure. I've never had any good answers to these questions about when personality develops, how it develops, whether it's genetic or whether it's environmental or whether it has to do with meow or meow or meow. I just don't have any answers. I don't know. Any speculation I make about it is so speculative that it's not even worth speculating. And typically, the reason is when I start trying to speculate about it, I run into contradictions no matter what speculation line I take. So I don't know what the answer is. I do know that my daughter seemed to be seems to have retained that personality. She was a miniature Delilah when she was born. Even you can see the action function in the dominant slot, the way that she just she'd scrunch up her little forehead and try to do shit all the time. She was a wonderful little child. You could just sort of. She was totally an action type, That's what it boils down to. Really young, Melinda, Delilah's mother, started calling her Eric Jr. And it wasn't until she became a teenager or so that I started to note that there was some big difference. And what it turned out to be is she's an ESTP, not an ENTP. I'd say the Captain America is a actualized ESTP with a clear moral center. I'm an example of an actualized ENTP with a clear moral center, although not nearly as effective at not nearly as effective at promoting the good as Captain America. He's motivated by plot. I mean, that's the thing. It's you have a choice where you stand on issues of principle and morality in the world. You can either be some degree of relativist, or you can choose to take a stance one way or the other. No, just about 3 minutes of it is all I could stand to watch before it. 1 o'clock my time today? Oh, thank you, Isaiah Rude. I've totally forgotten about it. The little bit of that interview I watched was T.I. Torture. My mentor this, my mentor that. It's just like, oh my God. What day is it? Thursday? Thursday. Oh, Lobo for Rhodes. It's hanging reasonably well. Why is Iron Man so snarky and sarcastic? Where does that come from? That comes from a lifetime of pushback that he was well advised to not listen to. What does the topic mean? Eric loves Rachel so much, too much. Oh, well, I was mad and sad this morning. That was my original title for this, because Rachel and I had some challenges yesterday, and you know, I love her a lot, and I want her to feel safe, and I want her to relax and understand that she's valuable to me. Captain America, no, he's not, though. He's absolutely not. That's why he opposes that world government-y thing. That you fucked up some shit? And he does question it. He's on the side that doesn't go along with the whatever it's called. Yeah, INFJs do tend to worry too much about others and forget about themselves in the process. It's like you can never appeal to pragmatism with an INFJ. You can't say, well, this is what's in your interests, so you should do it. That doesn't appeal to them. Yeah, Captain America's anti-globalist. She hasn't been controlled and abused all her life. That's not true. Really, the meat of that experience has been the last 10 years. And the reason why she's not damaged in ways that are relationship destroying for us is because she wasn't abused as a kid. She had a good enough childhood. It was a little TE heavy for her, but she was loved. She had, people who genuinely cared about her in her life. And no, not both of them. She says her dad stops fighting for her at a certain point. It sounds like she made it through first 10 years of her life or so, largely unscathed because maybe a large enough family, grandma, dad being basically good people, uh, mom being busy. Her mom is well, her mom and her brother are the two people who refuse to talk to me when they're going to be held to any account. That's a good indication of something, right? But yeah, no, I know, Lanternesque. I know. Um, but I'd say that's true, probably. It's like, okay, even my family has a little bit of that. When I think back about my adolescence, I don't like the way that my mom treated my grandma, and I don't like the way that I treated my grandma on occasion as well. Uh, but that's really the extent of like. Other than that, I am struck by how unusual it is to grow up in the kind of family that I grew up in, where everybody is loving, and genuinely wants the best for the other people. Yeah, well, it's not her argument to make. You know, see, this seems very straightforward to me as a debate issue. It's like that's not her ground. She can't make that argument. Um, iDubbbz. I don't know what that is. I don't know what iDubbbz is. Um, yeah, I know, Lanternesque. I'm a pretty gentle guy. Sometimes I get mad, and I'm not. But overall, I am very gentle, and I don't want to be a bully. What's simp? That means simpering, like a cuck. Um, Criticize who for letting his girlfriend have an OnlyFans account? What's an OnlyFans account? I don't know what you guys are talking about. iDubbbz? I have no idea what this. What is this, like some sort of big story or something? I don't know anything about this thing you're talking. I don't know what OnlyFans is. I don't know what iDubbbz is. I don't get what you're talking about at all. I am a gentle guy. I'm very gentle. I bully chat members daily. I do not bully chat members daily, do I? I hope not. I try to be gentle. Yeah, I mean, ENTPs can be a bully. iDubbbz is a big YouTuber. I bullied you on several occasions? Huh. Well, I have been accused of that plenty of times. It's probably true. I'll try not to do that anymore. I probably will again, but that's the other thing. And this is the other thing is yeah, try to remind myself it's a process. I'm not mad anymore. Now I feel sad, kind of. Huh. Oh, so it's like pictures of his girlfriend naked and then guys give her money? Is that how it's supposed to work? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No way in hell. Oh, he's like one of those guys. Yeah, I know that modality. Anger is sadness in disguise. It is in this instance. It's not always. Sometimes it's just anger in disguise. Wait, but is that correct? What I said about that OnlyFans is that the girl takes naked pictures of herself and then guys give her money, or what? Is that how it works? Nobody's answering my question. I want someone to answer my question. Thank you, Napster. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's terrible. Why would you do that? I don't want people to look at my naked girlfriend. Did I throw rocks at the Native Americans again? No, not this time. Yeah, why would that happen? Why would anybody pay money for pornography? It's so easy to attain whatever pornography you want for free. I don't understand why you'd pay for porn. It's all you got to do is go to Pornhub, and it's full of porn for free. That doesn't make any sense. It's a subscription thing. You post content, lewd or pornographic, online, and in order for people to see it in the description, the user sets the price for the subscription. I see. So basically it's saying, all right, everybody, if you want to see a picture of my penis, you can all pay $5 and see it at this place over here. It's like that, huh? Oh, the world is such a ridiculous place. It is so hilarious. Oh, that's funny. I wonder how much. See, I probably would get like nothing. If I were to be like, okay, guys, I'm gonna take a picture of my junk and put it up here on this place. You have to pay $20 to see it. You'd be like, no takers. Okay, $15. No takers. $10. No takers. Okay, $1. Like one pity taker. You know, I get one pity buy. What a ridiculous idea. That's so funny. Wow. Oh, the world's a hilarious place, you know? Revenge star that you did a YouTube police on that Kimberly thought was transgender does domination content for on OnlyFans for a living. I could advertise as a naked psychologist, naked typologist. Yeah. Nude typology. That would be a really weird fetish. You know, like I want to be personality typed by somebody who's naked. Ask me more TI questions. No, ask him with your penis. Yeah, a hot chick could totally pull it off. Well, she could do anything nude and, you know, she could pull it off. She could, like, rake the leaves naked and people would watch it. Look at her rake. Oh, yeah, rake harder. Well, that's just life in the big city, hello, Froze. The thing is, you know, I think one of the more challenging aspects of the modern way of like dating and hookup culture and stuff like that is that when people settle into a long-term relationship as they get older, it probably is going to end up being that probably going to end up being that the girl's had a lot more sexual partners than the guy has. There are 3 nipples and a finger, 2 fingers in an anus, and 2 anuses in a bed. How many nipples in a bed? 12. Is the answer 12? Hey, I don't like to talk about people as ugly. What I think is interesting is I believe that uh, I mean, I guess the word homely would be acceptable. I don't know. I just don't like that. It just bothers my FI. I have no justification for it. I think Inky Pinky is an NE test, basically. Uh, and if you've got polar NE, you find even basic Inky Pinky is very difficult. What? I know. FI is lame, L Lobo Furrows. It's not I don't have any legitimate justification. It's just, it hurts my FI. Okay, you're just going to have to let me be tender. Stroke my tender dampness, L Lobo Furrows. Stroke it with your tongue. Wrinkly Slinky. Inky Pinky. You know, like road flesh. Ink Pink is street meat. Be tender on tender. Nice slogan. Mm-hmm. I feel this need to go be with Rachel. I feel sad now. I don't like sadness. It's a sad emotion. Yeah, it's a good game. I'll give you a more interesting one. So, you know, one that I've done before, Isaiah Root, if you've not heard it before, is Hilltop Water Spout. It's an Inky Pinky. What's the answer? She's inside, lying down in the master bedroom, sleeping probably, or maybe awake. I don't know. I gotta pee pretty soon here. Got some urine. It's I'm gonna stream it from the tip of my penis into this bucket. It's a little thing I like to call urination. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it or not. Have you ever seen the something with the urine now? With the urine streaming down into this bucket. Why me be in a bucket? OnlyFans. No, it's 2 words. It's always 2 words. The answer is always 2 words. So, for example, if it were a sparkling urination, then the answer would be twinkle tinkle. There, I'm done urinating now. Wait, there's some more. Don't leave us behind. What if you were married and your wife had an OnlyFans and your kid was still a kid? Yeah, Mountain Fountain is right. No, because it's an inky pinky. But that's a good answer. I like your ink pink answer. If the clue had been ink pink, you would have the correct answer there, Isaiah. But the clue was inky pinky, which means it's two syllable. Mountain Fountain. No, I don't have kidney problems. I've been pleased with my urination streams lately in general. Right. That's a tricky one there. Okay. I'm gonna call it a wrap here because I want to go lie down with Rachel and I'm feeling emotions right now. I feel sad. It's the aftermath of MAD, you know. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for being here.